Peace all, RaReKaMai here, or RaReKaBaMystics, and Upright Root and Aspire Higher. Welcome to this segment of the weekly PowRa for the week commencing the 12th of April until the 19th of April. So we're doing the Sunday to Sunday, the Soul Day to Soul Day, or the Soul Day to Sunday, the ancient and the modern. You know how it goes out here. We bring together the ancient wisdom and the modern insights and bring that together to make the whole new wave. Okay, in divine, stemmed in divine, always in divinity. Okay, so this week, it's been an interesting it's been interesting last week, very interesting last week, very powerful, and very telling. This week's message is it's gonna have my head. Hold on a minute. It was divine timing through May. I may have to take that through because it might not fit in my little meme there, but divine timing until May, they say. So divine timing until May, okay? That's the title for this week's message. Alongside my little pick notes here, we have number 4 and structural perspective. Okay, so what are you seeing? What are you thinking? What have you gone through? What has been done unto you? What have you done unto yourself in your structure, in your foundation? And how has that imprinted your perspectives? For it's highest, so it's good. It's highest, so it's goodest. It's highest, so it's lowest, so it's in between. Okay, check it. The number 4 is what the collective year is, 2020. And, we talk about 4 being about stability, structure, foundation. But, it's, within that, it's also always a need in this life, in this realm, to check and balance. So if your foundation is faulty, you need to restructure that. You need to transform and transmute it. Okay, and we had 2 pick notes come out this week, and we also have number 12 with togetherness, and I was quite taken back by that message because I wasn't sure, and I did buy it, but it was a channeled message, so I had to quiz it a little. So 12, is that 1 and the 2, 1 being the self and 2 being unions. And togetherness is bringing yourself together, but alongside the structural perspective, it's asking you to check where, what, and whom you do come together with. It's very important who and what you align yourself with. Who and what you align yourself with. That's people, places, situation, and things. Spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. What is the core of your foundation? How is your foundation being seen? And how do you see your foundation due to the alignments that you make? Okay. It's divine timing until May. And actually, I think last week or a week and a half ago, I was looking at the transits that's coming up in May. There's a lot of planets going into retrograde in May. We have that cluster of planets going in retrograde at the same time. We have Pluto coming into its shadow phase on the 14th. So that's a kickoff right there. And Pluto is a major player for transformation and checking the deep-seatedness of things that really do need changing and switching up. And as we're in the April madness and months, the heat, we were talking about, it's time for us to really, again, check and balance. We have enough time inside, or we have enough time in isolation, or to look within, to take time to check who is we, why is we, are we aligned to our highest self, our highest being? Right, so the 12th Actually, I'm going to move the board. This is our mantra here. Bliss-filled Isis. That's a bliss-filled day and night. Masculine and feminine energy. Love, live, learn, enjoy. Love unconditionally, live full experiences, learn from those experiences, and be present in now. Don't be too far forward or too far back. But it's not all, what do you say? Not all roses and cookies, you know? Roses and cookies, that's new. Yeah, well, that's what it is. That's what came through. There's things that we need to adhere to. There's things that we need to sort through. There's things that we need to check within and without. Nam Maya Hey Renge Kyo. You know, I've been saying that for a minute. And yeah, because I used to kind of, my first like religion outside of the spiritual, I mean, my first religion when I was going through my spiritual awakening, and I say religion, but kind of spiritual path after coming out of the Christianity and Catholicism, whatever, was Buddhism. I kind of got into that. Yeah, when I kind of first went through my first spiritual awakening, Buddhism was the first spiritual, I want to say spiritual religion. Why? It's not so much a religion, spiritual path I embarked on. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to move this here for now. There's more space for the cards. I'm going to keep. We got here the Two of Pentacles, which I believe we had last week as well. Maybe not last week, the week before, as the underlying message for the tarot, which is always important to check the cards that come out recurring, because either we haven't fully got the message or we still need to continue working on it. Okay, same old. With lessons learned, blessings earned. Your lessons learned equates your blessings earned. Okay, and we're still working with the full moon that we had last week. Right, and it was in Virgo. 13 signs sidereal astrology. Okay, and Virgo is such a powerful I won't say constellation, but yes, that too. But also Virgo is a very powerful sign. Virgo stands for chastity, purity, very wise when you do so. When you abstain from certain things can become gluttonous, lustful, overindulgent, you know. That being, yes, sex, but also people that you may love, that you may lust over, or addictions, places and situations, to really strengthen yourself. And this Two of Pentacles is talking about us really checking ourselves in this physical realm, the decisions that we make. Okay, back to the message of structural perspective and togetherness. Where are we aligning ourselves? What are we aligning ourselves with? There are lessons to be learned about them, and there are blessings to be earned once we learn the lessons. So Soul Day, we had Trust the God Within with the Ace of Chalice. Okay, and it's trusting the God within is is a beautiful thing. Aligning yourself to soul, the infinite one, understanding that you are God, brings a lot of blessings to you, a lot of emotional fulfillment. You're not like all over the place. You stand in your power. You are firm and strong. You are full. And trust in that. Align yourself with that. You are coveted by all the things that may be on earth, tantalizing you. But you have to have strength to trust that God within, because sometimes, most of the times, it gives you tasks that in this life is like, whoa there, uh, you know. But once you can fully bask in that, you are revered spiritually and physically. So that was a 12 underlaying 3 energy. The ancient is a 3 energy and the modern is a 12. And you know the 12 is also a 3, so that was a double 3. That's that Christ consciousness, the master teacher, Yeshua. With the Ophiuchus moon. And you know, I mentioned last week that if you have, because Ophiuchus is a sign that, you know, that I'm trying to bring more awareness to. And I spoke in one of the Random Force days. I can't remember what it was titled now, but it was something to do with, maybe it was called Astrology is Not Pseudo. And I spoke, but last week I spoke about Ophiuchus, and if you're in the first decans of Sagittarius and the last decans of Scorpio, then you are likely a Ophiuchus, wherever it's in your moon, your sun, you know, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, however it goes. But you're most likely an Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus energy is very powerful, extremely powerful. Its roots is in the yin realm. Okay, that's the spirit realm, and you know everything comes from the spirit. The magic is spiritual. The creativity is spiritual. The creative magic is spirit, you know? And like we speak often, that spirit is good, bad, or indifferent. So the Ophiuchus energy, a lot of Ophiuchus is either very high vibrational or very low vibrational. There's not much in between. And in the Random Forest Day vlog that I did, what do you call it? I broke down the signs, and it's low and high vibrations. And but what Ophiuchus was this high vibration is it's holistic, and its low vibration is fragmented. And when I say that, I mean, like, you know, the holistic is looking at all aspects, you know, integrating the yin and the yang, striving to, anyways. Those are the lessons, whichever, you know, way, the doorway, gateway that we come through in this constellation. They're usually just lessons, not just, they are lessons for us to learn. And its low vibration is fragmented, so you're only seeing one side of the coin type thing. Okay, and usually when you are born in the Ophiuchus sun, very, very much affiliated to what they can do when they're fragmented at the most, what they can gain and do with their spiritual understandings in the physical. Trusting the God within is sometimes sequestering, not sometimes, you know, really checking yourself and sequestering those energies, because everybody is born with divine guidance, and some of them are high, some of them are low. Okay. But remember, this week is all about spiritual perspective. Did I say spiritual? I meant structural perspective. Structural perspective. But what is your spiritual perspective on togetherness, you know? How do you feel and how do you think about certain relationships that you have or that you're affiliated to? Where does your mind wander? How does your body move you when you think about these relationships, when you're in those relationships? On Moon Day, we have on the 13th of April, and we have the Luna in Sagittarius with an undertone of 5. And 13 being, again, another divine feminine energy, spirit-led yin realm. Put those 1 and 3 together. It's a 4. So foundations, again, your structure. And then we have the undertone of a 5. A 5 being about changing the status quo, learning lessons, karma, and being adventurous, being carefree, moving away from the box, moving away from, the set pace. We have Soul Group with the 5 of Cups. Okay, Soul Group. And I used to get this when I used to, anyways, I'll save that. Soul Group is good, bad, and indifferent. We have challenges as well in our Soul Group. We have oppositions, antagonizers in our Soul Group that we must defeat for our emotional and mental peace. And then being in our Soul Group, we have a great affiliation with them some way, somehow. Take time and check it. Each and every one that you have. Your foundations, family, friends, long-term friends, people that you just feel akin to, kindred to. Again, ask yourself, how do you really think? How do you really feel? How do you really move within those connections? Because there's changes needed. On the 14th, we have the Pluto and Jupiter conjunction with Luna in Sagittarius. And this is on Mars Day. We have symbolic wisdom with the wheel. It's the 14th, so it's the 5 energy again with the undertone of 7. So 7 being about reflection, going within to check your spirit. How can you perfect your incarnation and alignment to your destiny? Okay. Symbolic wisdom is about, checking the signs and synchronicities, the repetitive situations, the magical instances, the deja vu maybe, the repeated instances with the Wheel of Fortune, yes, but this card on this deck here is called the Wheel. And it talks about the many options that you have, the many doorways you can go through. Remembering that each doorway, each gateway you go through, there are lessons and blessings to be earned in this physical dime. Which way are you going to go? Are you following your highest heights or your lowest lows? Pluto's all about transformation, as we said, getting to the core of what needs to change for you to be brighter, happier, lighter. With Jupiter being of expansion, expanding past the mundane, Look into your spirit first and your matter after. In the Sagittarius, which is where Ophiuchus comes, where Ophiuchus has already given a lot of the information of the yin. And when you level up out of into the Sagittarius energy, are you going to go for the light or the height attribute of understanding spirituality? Because we say that Scorpio dives, Ophiuchus is a deep, and Sagittarius revives. But what are you reviving? Because in the deep, there's good, bad, and indifferent. Okay? What are you bringing to the surface? And the moon, Luna is in the last quarter. The last quarter moon is a great time to understand what's been going on. And alongside the symbolic wisdom, you would have been, if you was being attentive to that moon energy in Virgo, depending on what you may have petitioned, or if you work with the moon. If you don't work with the moon, it just still affects you whether you take heed of it or not. Like what's been happening since that last Mercury day. It was Mercury, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Mercury day on the 8th. What the scenarios that's been occurring since then. You know it. It's in you. Take time to reflect on it. Ask yourself. Ground yourself. And then ask yourself. On the 15th, we have spirit first, matter after. Balance both with justice. That's that Mercury day. 15, 1 and 5 being a 6, which is all about harmony, domestic bliss, abundance, the Venusian energy. Venus sometimes likes to overindulge, so be mindful in this world not to overindulge, to balance those out, those instances where you just want more, you just want to be relaxed, you just want to be in peace, you just want to be in love. There's work to be done as well. And sometimes it doesn't feel so good, but it has to be done. That's you standing in your power and trusting the God within. That moves you. When you're in your highest vibration, when you're aligned to your core, to your purpose. With an undertone of 9. And 9 is completion. It's the ending the old and tried and revive. Ending the old and tried and coming into your fullness. It's like the gibbous. Not quite 4, because the full I'd say is the 10. But it's the gibbous coming almost into the fullness. You knowing what needs to end and what you need to bring forward through all the stages from 0 to 8. So you can be the best human you came to be. The best light bearer you came to be. There's justice in that. If you check yourself spiritually and then materially and balancing the two. Again, structural perspectives and togetherness. What are you aligning yourself with spiritually? Are those thoughts and feelings conducive to you? And then what are you aligning yourself to physically? Are those people, situations, and things conducive to you? There's justice in you checking yourself before you get checked. On Jupiter Day, we have Life is What You Make It with the Queen of Chalice. And we had that last week as well, and I think that was a Saturn Day message. Ah, yes, we had it last week, Saturn Day message, and then also we had the Ace of Cups. And we have now the Queen of Cups. And that's on the 16th of April with the undertone of 11. And the 1 plus 6 is 7. We spoke about on the 14th. And the 11 vibration is all about your highest connections, your highest guides, your highest self, your highest soul tribe and soul group. Maybe not the high ones, but the one that's going to help you bring in the lessons, to check you, to trigger you, to earn those blessings. So you can be peace, you can be emotionally stable in your power. Then we have Venus Day. You are an abundant being with the 6 of Pentacles. And Venus Day is the 17th and the moon is in Aquarius. I haven't been telling you the moon sign, sorry geez. From the 12th to the 14th we have the 12th we have Ophiuchus moon. 13th and 14th we have Sagittarius moon. The 15th we have Capricorn moon. 16th, 17th and 18th we have Aquarius moon. Okay? And then the 19th we have a Taurus moon, in case I forget. So Venus Day, we have the 17th day of April on a 4 vibration. So 7 and 1 is 8. Okay. And even looking at the two numbers separate, 1 is against self, is the initiative. And 7 is the reflection, the spirit. So check your spirit to understand your cycles, which is what the 8 is all about. Infinity, your karma, how you acquire your abundance, your ancestors, your lineage. Okay? With undertone of 4, which is all about your foundations. So again, what are your structural perspectives? What have you aligned yourself to? Spiritually first and matter thereafter. What can you learn from them? What blessings or lessons have you derived from them? You know, the 6 of Pentacles also talks about your past lives and how they affect you in this physical realm. Remember that you are an abundant being is always a quote that reminds me of the only reason we lack is because of things we haven't worked through. And you know, abundance comes in many forms. Many forms. What's abundant to you may not be the most abundant to somebody else. And the lessons in gaining your abundance is in the spirit first and in the matter after. And that's a Venusian lesson as well. A Venusian wisdom, in fact. Venus knows that for you to acquire the best in the physical, you have to understand the spiritual and what goes on around it, in it, and how that affects you. And then on the 18th, which is the Saturn day, we had learn from the past to change your future now with the 9 of Swords. Cut out the shit that stresses you, that you feel blindsided by it. Learn from it. Don't let it ride you. You ride it. And change Make the changes you need to, that you know you need to, because whenever you have a trigger, the lesson is also underlined right there beside the trigger. So take time with yourself to figure it out. Look to the spirit and the matter. The trigger may be in the physical, and if you check yourself spiritually, you understand it, you'll understand it. And the 18th day, 1 and 8 is a 9 again. Checking the 0 to the 8, seeing through those cycles, knowing what needs to come forward and what needs to be left behind, with the undertone of 6, which is all about your bliss. So what do you need to bring forward? What do you need to leave behind to bring about your bliss in this physical realm? Lessons learned, lessons earned in this 2 of Pentacle energy, is that making a decision for the physical realm. Remember that spirit is first and matter is after. What are your structural perspectives? What is your foundation? What is your core reasoning? And what do you align yourself to? And on Soul Day, we have pick up the keys and use the tools with the 5 of Pentacles. Okay, the Soul Day is the 19th day of April, and the moon is in Taurus, and we have an undertone of the 44 energy. And 44 is that master number, as well as the 11, which I didn't mention, but the double digits are all master numbers. And the 44 talks about, you may have your own understandings, because, you know, I channel my messages, and they come from the Council of Light, which is made up of my high self, divine, ascended masters, high vibrating ancestors, right? And so the 44, which is commonly known as like ancestral or angelic even guidance, but also ancestral guidance to me. Your foundation, your core, your lineage. You have certain keys, and you have tools, the wherewithal to make moves in this physical dime, to make the changes that's necessary, to move yourself away from the lack mentality or the greed or the begrudgedness. The power is all in you. The power is within. You have to summon it. And I'm not talking about conjuring, because there's, you know, there's a good and bad to all things. I'm talking about reaching deep within for your truth and speaking that openly, actioning that effortlessly. Remember your structural perspectives, what are you aligning yourself to, so you can learn those lessons and earn those blessings in this physical dime. Whatever makes you feel lesser than, you need to check and rid yourself of. Pick up the keys and use the tools. Talk to your inner guides. You know, be sure that they're the highest vibing ones for you. And they'll give you the clues how to move forward. In peace or in war. But make the changes. Remember that spirit is first and matter is after. Stand firm and true to you. Have a bliss-filled week, y'all. Peace.